Well, actually, why don't we bring in Penny Milky now? Penny from Northern Specialty Health, way up north in Houghton. You were in medical marijuana for 6 or 8 years before it went adult use or something, right?
Correct. Yeah, we 2013. So we're coming up on 7 years.
No kidding. Okay. So
Hmm.
let's talk a little bit about what we've been talking about. Harry's talking about the real estate situation. Obviously, there's only a couple of players up in your neck of the woods in the UP right now that are actually doing adult use provisioning, and I think you either almost have your license or you're good or you have it, or where does that stand?
We got it. We got it last Friday.
All
Yay!
right. Okay.
But we're still waiting on metric tags, metric point of sale system. All that stuff takes time once you actually get your active license. So we're thinking we might have a soft opening very soon, but if we do, it's going to be super soft, and we're not going to make any announcements until we get more product in.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about product. What
Mhm.
is selling well for you, and what's going on with the pricing situation? Is it up, down, staying the same?
The prices have been all over the place since we started. Since we got licensed for MMFLA, it was one thing, it went way up, it went way down. It's always been all over the place, especially for flower. Concentrates were more consistent, but now they're going up. Everything is going up.
Hmm.
Yep, edibles across the board. People are telling us stock up now, they're going up. Everything's going up.
But are you able to get product? I mean, it's easy to
We
say go
are.
ahead and stock up. It's another thing to actually stock up, right?
Yes, yes. We have been fortunate and we have had product. We also have some adult use coming this coming weekend. So we do have product. We won't have enough, but we will have some. And we're just going to work on getting more and more. Our medical is great. We have a huge medical stock. Once we are able to transfer 50% of our inventory, we will do that, but we can't do that until we get our metric tags for adult use in.
Yeah, forgive me again. I'm not as up to speed as you guys are on some of this stuff. I know that medical is being phased out or eliminated, and it'll just be adult use, but I don't remember all the details. One of you wants you wait, maybe Rick. What's going
Well,
on with that?
medical's not necessarily being phased out. What the proposed change currently, in order for you to receive an adult use license under the program, you have to first have a medical use license. What
Ah,
they'd like to do is remove that requirement so that people can just have directly pipeline right into the adult use program.
ah.
So medical use and medical retail centers are not phasing out or going away. They will probably be less prevalent as centers who can choose to do adult use and medical or just adult use may opt exclusively to be adult use. The medical program created by the legislature is full of additional burdens and extra hassles. The adult use program that we created by voter directed initiative is much more streamlined. And I think the profitability of cannabis in the adult use market is probably much higher than it is in the medical. Penny, would that jibe with what you would say?
Yeah, I think so. We went back and forth on whether or not we were going to renew our medical license. It's coming up in October or November. We are going to renew this year. But I do know that some people are not renewing their med licenses because it's another fee. It's more regulation. It's two separate inventories. It's a lot of headache, but we're doing it. So one thing is that hopefully we can bring in medical product, hold it for 30 days, transfer it to adult use because we don't know how much adult use product there will be strictly. But if we can buy it as medical, hold it, then we can transfer it. And then to have a higher dose edibles for those patients that need medical. We don't want to ditch the medical patients after they were the only reason that got us here in the first place. So we're going to hold on another year. We're going to pay the fee. We're going to do it all. And even though we just received our adult use license, I'm not dropping the medical. Who knows about next year, but no, not right now.
And it's pretty easy to get a medical card. I don't personally have one, but I know
Mhm.
some friends that do, right? It's not that difficult to get one of those.
No, it is not that difficult. And we have a few different people that we recommend. As long as the hardest thing is that the demand that we are seeing is that they're from Minnesota and they're from Wisconsin. That's
Right.
who's calling us every day. It's not Michigan people necessarily. It's out of staters, and those out of staters can't get Michigan medical cards. At least Wisconsin can.
In
Well,
my
that's
cannabis news segment, we talked about Ohio and
yeah.
Indiana people coming up and taking
Yeah.
into the market, which is perfectly acceptable. That's what we set it up to do. But most people may not realize you're in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, divided state, and
Yeah.
you're far closer to Wisconsin and Minnesota than you would be to those other two states.
Yeah, like if this is the Keweenaw Peninsula,
Yeah.
we're up here, you guys are down here, right? All of these people are calling us.
Yep, all the Finlanders are hunting you down. I know.
They
I've been up.
are.
I live there. I know.
So, but now that you have adult use recreational, then you can serve those states, right?
Yeah, we can, but we haven't started yet. But when we do, when we get everything straightened out and ready to go, we will be able to serve people from out of state as long as they're 21 and older.
Okay. When do you think you'll have that? So sometime this month, next month?
Soon, very
Sure.
soon.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm assuming business is doing quite well up there, even with the pandemic?
Yeah, we've been fortunate. We were essential workers. We never had to close. We never had to cut staff hours. Actually, we've doubled our staff. We're up to 19 people now,
Wow.
getting ready for adult use. Yeah, I know. We just hired 10 more. So our lobby is still closed. We have ordering online for Weed Maps, and then we do call. But we're trying to encourage everyone to order on Weed Maps because as soon as we do switch add on adult use, the phone is going to be really hard to get through. And we don't want medical patients to not be able to place an order.
Now I know down here the trolls under the bridge. Some of them are opening their lobbies limited wise. I mean, we had
Mhm.
Jamie Lowell on last week talking about what he was doing, and they have a very restricted, not that many people in the lobby. Do you think you might go in that direction at some point?
Yeah, we might. We did open back up in June for about 3 weeks, but then the cases started to increase where we are, so we closed again. But we closed in March. We opened for 3 weeks. We closed again, and we're still going to do curbside as long as we're allowed to. Probably, I think we can have 50% capacity, but we can only have so many people on premise, and the majority of that is going to be staff until they open up occupancy.
Okay, Harry or Rick, you got any questions for her?
Penny, you're challenged by that location we talked about earlier because the MMFLA laws require secure transporters to bring cannabis up to you. So that means it's an extra burden for you to have to leap. How is that whole situation, secure transport coming north of the bridge?
It's a lot, but it has gone down. When we first got licensed, it was crazy. It was insane the amount of, it was crazy. I mean, it blows people's minds how much we had to pay to get somebody to come up here. Sometimes we had to have 2 orders in 1 week because we had no inventory and we were trying to get stock and somebody wasn't out of testing, but we wanted to start selling. So we would get flour here and then the next order was concentrates. But thankfully the cost has gone down a lot. And there's also the possibility of working with other people that are licensed up here. We haven't done that yet because that's a whole nother logistics thing of trying to get orders from the same places on the same days and things like that. But overall, the transport costs have gone down a lot.
We recently did on Jazz Cabbage Cafe. We featured the attorney for Bay Mills Indian Community and Sault Ste. Marie, and they're going to initiate an entirely independent cannabis industry on tribal lands. They've already begun that program. You're also in the Upper Peninsula, although you're on the northwestern side, and the Sioux is to the extreme east. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that as someone who would potentially be considering that as a competitor?
I say whoever wants to get into this market should get into the market. The more the better. This is hard and you need people to support you. Whether they're competitors or not, you can still learn from them, but that's just my thing, I do get a little, it is hard to think about people going elsewhere, but options are good and choice is good. And I think that we have a good enough team that people are going to keep coming to us no matter who comes in.
Now, how big of a market? I haven't been up in the UP in a long time. The Houghton area, how big of a market are you drawing from? I think you said like an hour or 2 in either direction. You're drawing people, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we will. There are some places near Negaunee now, so we don't get as many people from Marquette that we used to before those places opened up. But we draw from like Ironwood, Iron Mountain, and Crystal Falls, Iron River. So yeah, a couple hours away, plus Minnesota.